only reason I was showing you referencing. It's called Park. I've heard of it, but I have no idea what it is. Like leftovers.
Mic check 1 2 3. Mic check 1 2 3.
Well, good morning. I'm Dave Rees. I'm the special agent in charge of the DEA Seattle Field Division, which covers Washington, Oregon, Alaska, and Idaho. I'm glad to appear today with our partners at the United States Attorney's Office for the Western District of Washington, Homeland Security Investigations, and the Northwest High-Intensity Drug Trafficking Area, as we highlight our fine work of our team in Operation LY, which culminated with a series of seizures, arrests, and search warrants this month. DA Tacoma and our partners have been investigating the Sinaloa cartel-affiliated drug trafficking group for almost 2 years. This case started with undercover DEA agents buying relatively small quantities of methamphetamine and fentanyl from Tacoma area dealers. The subsequent investigation led to 2 federal wiretaps, and investigators followed this and other evidence to California, Arizona, Utah, and further up the chain to Sinaloa cartel. Investigators identified 2 brothers from Sinaloa, Mexico, Rosario Abel Joaquin Camargo Banuelos and Francisco Fernando Camargo Banuelos, as the leaders of this drug trafficking organization. From their base in Sinaloa, both these men directed this group that dealt death and despair in our community. This is what we expect of the Sinaloa cartel, which is why DEA is putting every resource at our disposal towards ending the reign of drug terror in the Pacific Northwest and around the country. This Sinaloa cartel-affiliated group trafficked an extremely large quantity of drugs. In this case, we seized 484 pounds of methamphetamine, 30 pounds of cocaine, 8 pounds of heroin, over 217,000 fentanyl pills, and 197,000 pounds of powder fentanyl. The 269 pounds of fentanyl pills and powder seized in this case could yield a staggering 6.9 million lethal doses. This could have killed every person in every community in the Puget Sound region. The Sinaloa cartel peddles this poison for one reason: to make money. In this case, we hit them where it hurt. This team seized over $650,000 in cash that this group generated while ruining countless lives in our communities. Not only did this group present a danger in our area through drug trafficking, but they also were well armed and a threat to public safety. Drugs and guns go together, and this group had an arsenal at their disposal. Our team seized 21 firearms from members of this group during the course of the investigation, 11 of which came during the search warrants that occurred earlier this month. The Sinaloa cartel is a designated foreign terrorist organization. They're responsible for supplying groups like this, distributing large quantities of drugs around the world. The Sinaloa cartel also manufactures, as well as distributes, fentanyl and methamphetamine. DEA and our partners around the world are focusing all our efforts on breaking the Sinaloa cartel with arrests and seizures everywhere. They're one of the most dangerous threats on the planet to the health and safety of our communities, and I hope that this operation is a step towards the removal of this threat from our homes. Thank you. Now, Acting United States Attorney T. Miller.
Good morning. This was a lengthy and wide-ranging investigation of a cartel-connected drug trafficking organization distributing dangerous drugs in the Western District of Washington. The drug ring was organized and controlled from Mexico, as Agent Rees explained. The ring used U.S. citizens and individuals who are here illegally to spread drugs from Lacey to Whidbey Island. During the arrests and searches that just took place, in addition to large quantities of drugs and money, the agents seized 11 firearms. Earlier in the investigation, they seized even larger quantities of drugs, including a shipment in October of 2023 that found 95 kilograms of methamphetamine and 41 kilograms of fentanyl powder. Some of these shipments were so large they were brought here in semi-trucks. Some of the firearms were seized from defendants who were prohibited from possessing them, either because they were aliens or because they had prior felonies. The indictment charges not just the drug conspiracy and other drug charges, but illegal firearms possession and also instances of using a firearm during and in relation to a drug trafficking crime. We charge these firearms offenses because combining narcotics, trafficking, and guns makes our communities much less safe. We will work with our counterparts in the Department of Justice's Office of International Affairs to hold those named in the indictment and not yet brought into custody to trial. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Colin Jackson, and I'm the Acting Special Agent in charge for Homeland Security investigations here in Seattle. As you just heard from my colleagues, this case targeted a cartel-connected drug trafficking organization. The group was responsible for moving significant quantities of narcotics into the country and up the West Coast for distribution in our area. This transnational criminal organization not only infected our community with its illicit drugs, but also guns and the potential violence inherent with their business. This case is a prime example of what can be accomplished when federal and local law enforcement agencies work together towards a common goal. Thanks to the hard work of the agents and officers involved in this case, members of this cartel-connected organization have been taken off the street and will be held to account for their actions. I am confident that the Pacific Northwest is safer as a result of the arrest we're announcing today. HSI stands proudly with the DEA and the other members of our law enforcement community to eliminate the scourge of cartels and transnational criminal organizations from the United States. HSI is steadfast in its dedication to protecting our communities, and we will continue to take decisive action to ensure the safety, security, and well-being of the American people. Thank you.
Thank you. That concludes our formal remarks, but we'll be happy to take questions.
How
Sir?
did they get the drugs across the border?
In this investigation, largely it's across the land border in California and Arizona.
In vehicles? What kind of vehicles, and why were they not detected at the border, do you think?
In many different ways, in passenger cars as well as commercial trucks.
Is it your understanding that the semi-truck drivers knew what they were hauling, or were they using legitimate forms of transport? The drivers were just incidentally bringing the drugs across?
Were the drivers charged? Okay, so the drivers did know. Typically, that's how it works. The driver, there is a cover load. There is additional legitimate cargo in a truck that's bringing drugs, and the drugs are secreted within, almost always with the knowledge of the drivers.
Is it fair to have any details about these coordinated takedowns, like how they went down, where they went down, anything like that?
The biggest one happened in early August here in the Seattle area, and it was a coordinated takedown with it was 11 different locations with 11 different tactical teams. It was a very large undertaking, happened simultaneously here in town.
Does the distinction that the Sinaloa cartel is a designated foreign terrorist organization help in this case? That is relatively new, correct? The U.S. distinction?
It is. Like your attorney is speaking on the legal aspects.
That's right. It is relatively recent that various cartels have been designated as foreign terrorist organizations, and that the difference that makes is there are additional available charges. We haven't at this point brought any such charges in this case, but obviously always look at those potential charges of material support in any of our investigations that are associated with the transnational drug organization.
And does that expand powers on your end, having that distinction?
It expands available charges. Yes.
I wanted to ask about President Trump's tariff policy to pressure Mexico to address the fentanyl coming over the border. Have you seen any changes or gotten any closer to these cartel heads because of these policies?
I will say that we're being very successful in recent months in getting extraditions and arrests from Mexico.
And then I recognize Mr. Jackson from Friday's press conference. Is there any overlap between that FBI-led bust and today, or is it just kind of coincidental timing in those two operations?
It's just a coincidental time in those operations.
You have 19 defendants, 13 in custody, 6 are being sought after. Are you looking for any more members connected to this cartel in Washington State?
We're always trying to expand the investigation. So every arrest leads to an interview, which oftentimes leads to more arrests, and we follow every string available to get as many people involved in the organization as possible. So yes, the investigation is ongoing.
And I don't know how DEA defines things, but is this fair to say the Sinaloa cartel has a presence in Washington State?
Absolutely. Sinaloa cartel and the Jalisco cartel are both in Washington State.
And is that concerning to you, being that we are a little removed from the border?
Sinaloa cartel is one of our biggest adversaries, so as it concerns me, that's what consumes my thoughts.
Being that there is increased presence on the southern border, as led by the president, are you concerned that the northern border will become more porous? Are you already seeing cartel operations shift northbound?
So I've been with DEA for 27 years, and drug trafficking groups always choose the path of least resistance. So it's logical that the southern border gets harder and harder to penetrate. We're going to see traffickers exploiting other avenues to enter drugs in the United States.
Are you already seeing that?
So far, a little bit, but still the southern border is our principal threat at this moment.
What's the significance of what appears to be a swastika on that block of whatever that is?
So that's fentanyl powder. It's just a logo. I'm not sure why traffickers chose the swastika, but it's just a logo that is imprinted on most kilograms of powdered substance we find.
Have you seen that in other places?
I have actually never seen the swastika before used as a logo.
How does this bust rank in your 27 years? Is it major, significant? And what's the dollar value on these almost 7 million doses?
So this is a very significant bust, a very significant operation for the Pacific Northwest, and it ranks up there. I came from Phoenix, which is right on the one of the main corridors for drugs entering the United States. So this rivals something we would see in Phoenix. So it's very large. Typically at DEA we don't put a dollar value on drugs because it varies so radically from place to place. Even within my division, which is Alaska to Oregon, fentanyl in Alaska is way more expensive typically than fentanyl here. So we try to just stick with the dosage units and the weights. But 7 million lethal doses is an enormous number.
Has there been any cooperation with the Mexican authorities in this? Is there any official partnership or open channels there?
The Mexican government is helping in this case.
So I'm looking through your list here. Roughly half are Mexican nationals,
That's right.
and they were all in the United States.
Not all of them were in the United States.
How many were in Mexico?
The
The brothers.
the brothers are in Mexico, yeah.
Okay, but they had a number of people who were in this country illegally helping them out.
That's correct.
I'm sorry, I'm unclear. Are the brothers in custody?
They are not in custody.
Oh, yeah.
We believe they're in Sinaloa, Mexico right now.
Okay.
How about a couple more questions and we'll be done, or we can be done now if there aren't any more questions?
Final question for me. Maybe 5 years ago, I covered a HSI press conference, and back then, I was told that people aren't doing fentanyl. Fentanyl is being used to pass off as a legitimate drug. Has that changed now, and what do you attribute that change to?
It has changed a little bit. Say 5 years ago, really before, at least personally, before I started seeing fentanyl in the quantities we have now. So these M30s, these pills, like right there, for example, they look like legitimate M30s. They're the same color. They're made to look like a counterfeit, legitimate pharmaceutical pill. So at the beginning of this whole ride, in fact, it could look like anything. Xanax, Adderall could be counterfeit of a variety of drugs. So back then, a user might order an Adderall, and what they got back was fentanyl without their knowledge, and that still happens today. But I think as our educational message gets out, and then with the passage of time, fewer and fewer people are unaware that these M30s are actually fentanyl. But certainly still does happen. When I first started, traffickers were. Well, not when I first started. When I first started seeing illicit fentanyl was probably 2016, 2017. And traffickers would put fentanyl into sort of weak heroin because it's pharmacologically the same effect. And they'd kind of use that to make the weaker heroin more potent. So we're seeing a little bit of that now with fentanyl mixed with carfentanil and other things, other drugs.
One more. Some municipalities are reporting overdoses actually dropping. Is this something DEA is seeing? Is that just because there's more Narcan out there, or tolerances are up, or are you not seeing that?
So we are seeing the same thing. We're seeing that there are fewer overdoses regionally and nationally as well. I think it's a multi-pronged answer. So I think the availability and knowledge of Narcan is certainly one element to it. I'd like to think that our public education message is resonating and people are understanding the dangers of using a drug that's not provided by a pharmacy and written by a doctor, as well as our enforcement is making the drugs honestly a little less potent.
How much can you attribute that to a tighter border?
I think quite a bit to the tightening of the southern border. Sir.
I just want to understand the 19 people either in custody or being sought, their role in this machine, are they the distributors to the street level pushers? Are they above those guys? Like, where does it fit?
So this is, we've indicted her pretty much from the top, not to the bottom. We're not really targeting users, but the top levels of the organization, so the Camargo Banuelos brothers, as well as like the down to like the mid-level distributors. So everywhere throughout the chain. Okay. Then given the high sign, I'm happy to talk afterwards.
You kidding me in, man?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Please do.
Thanks. Super interesting. So if the responsibility of, I guess,